Well, hello there, agents. Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your humble agent of awesome and purveyor of fine publications, such as the one we're going to review today. Oh, and what would that be? It is not. Look, work. Look who's smiling now. I don't even know what this is about, but they were ubiquitous on magazines. This time, yesterday we reviewed dinosaurs. Today we're going to review monsters with a truly horrific cover. Let's turn down the music here. And we're going to be talking about the first monster magazine I ever bought. It is not this particular copy, which was a newer one, because I was trying to find my original, which I do have somewhere, but it seems to be in the archives in the dungeon or the laboratory. Take your pick. This is Movie Monsters number 3. This was published by Seaboard Publications, which also published the Atlas line of comic books. But before we get on to that, please like, share, subscribe. If you're watching on or listening on Spotify, you can vote in the poll. You can leave a comment either on YouTube or Spotify. So now I'd never seen the Phantom of the Opera, the Lon Chaney version here. Now, I had seen pictures, and I know this is truly horrific. I mean, look, he's got exposed bones, and of course, the makeup at the time was amazing. And I don't know who painted this. Let's find out to see if this says anything about who did the cover. So, this was Volume 1, Number 3. There were only four issues published. And this was the first one I saw. It was the only one I saw for years. I didn't know that there had been others. We will be reviewing those in due course, but since this is a first of sorts, I thought we'd do it this time. So grab yourself a super scary stack of wheat cakes, and let's get into it just a little bit. All right. There's a reason we're playing that particular music, and we'll find out here in a moment. So this magazine is 84 pages, and it's very much patterned on famous monsters of the movies. Seaboard / Atlas put out a ton of comic books and a couple of magazines, and this was their version of famous monsters, which, more power to it. We needed more magazines, especially ones that featured Godzilla and Batman and the Forbidden Planet and more. So 2 of those things caught my attention more than this. This was a very disturbing cover. My sainted mother was not thrilled with it. But let's get into this here. Here is the opening page. And you can see it also has Frankenstein, or the Frankenstein monster, Gargantua from Jack the Giant Killer, Batman, which I wanted to see so bad, and I probably should watch it again. And I don't know what the bottom bit is. Oh, Forbidden Planet. So that music is from the Forbidden Planet, which is all electronic and suits the movie so well. So we get right into it with Jack the Giant Killer. Now, this movie was released in 1962. This book, the magazine, was edited by Jeff Rovin, who wrote many things, including From the Land Beyond Beyond, and had George Torgerson. Sorry, George, did the cover. Now, it doesn't say who wrote these articles. And it has stills here. There's pre-production drawings, and the still of Gargantua. It doesn't go too... it's just a fun little movie. They don't... they go through... It's almost a film book. Here's Jack and Elaine. And there's the original drawing of the sea monster, which I had already seen the movie. I knew that was not the sea monster. There is no drawing of my favorite sea monster, the wonderful Kraken of this. They did get the wyvern or gargoyle or whatever you want to call it that Pendragon turns into correct. And too bad it didn't look quite as scary, though the sillier faces really kind of enhance the fantasy-like quality. We will be reviewing that. Here's some things if you had now would be worth lots of money except for these home movies. This is 1975. I didn't buy or 74. 75? I looked here. 75. I did not buy my first famous monsters until 1976, so I could order the all Japanese issue. It's got. Then they have a bunch of Phantom of the Operas, the Phantoms of the Opera. At this point in time, they were never aired in my area. I do believe that the Claude Rains one was possibly, but the Herbert Lom one was not, which I actually like quite a bit. They're all quite good movies. I've seen them all now, and even the Phantom of Paradise, which they talk about, and I'd like to see that again. But I was not that much into it. Ah, look, the superhero models and all sorts of things you could order. Captain Company is probably doing this too. Ah, look, this has got a circle. Now, I did own that and do own. No, that's not drawn on there. I still do it. We should review that as well because the encyclopedia, world's greatest encyclopedia of monsters. The monsters, who's wahoo. More toys and some books of questionable nature. Not, well, very special people. That's very being super polite. But more Planet of the Apes because they were still popular. And then we get to what one of the biggest reason I bought this was, come on, turn the page there. Godzilla. Now this is a film book of the movie, of the first movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. So mostly I had not seen it, but I was surprised when I finally saw it that I knew all the words, well, a lot of them. And it's pretty much word for word as much as they could, but they had great pictures. Monster Zero, Godzilla versus the Thing, which is how I knew that Mothra was in Godzilla versus the Thing. But they didn't tell me what the thing was. This oddball picture of Gigantus. Look at that. His carapace doesn't do that. They first thought about it. King Ghidorah. I hadn't seen that yet, except I had seen, no, I hadn't. I had seen King Kong versus Godzilla and Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And more and more. So it just goes right through it. Then the next issue, the next article, Forbidden Planet. And we'll just play a little of that music while I'm talking. Let's turn it down a touch. Drop it into the background. Boy, I hadn't seen this movie yet, but I was too shortly. And I didn't realize then how much Star Trek Gene Roddenberry cribbed from it, which, of course, military. But it's got the doctor, it's got the engineer, Oscar Goldman's in it, and it's got Robbie, the robot, the emotionless, who becomes their navigator. So it talks about Robbie. It goes on. So, they did more. They talked more about the movie than they needed to. Give more into the plot because you couldn't watch it. You didn't know when you'd see it again. They even have a still from The Invisible Boy, which took me years to see. I don't remember when I finally saw it, but it's on the Blu-ray of the Forbidden Planet. And then an artist drawing, and I forget if that's the Simonson or not, of the monster from the Id, which doesn't even do it. It does. It's a good drawing. It does it justice, but it's such a unique creation. Walt Simonson, that's what I thought. So who would later have a stellar run in comic books for Marvel and DC. And then we go into Batman. Now this Batman, 100% grade A West. Very familiar with that Batman, as you all know. I really wanted to find my original to show you how wretched the cover. It's fallen apart more than the Phantom here. But so there's the Wizard, who's the villain in one of the serials. And then your bat shark repellent, referenced in Drives Us Bat. The song Drives Us Bats from the Music Meister episode of The Brave and the Bold. And there we go. We got some pictures of the original one. Now, these costumes they don't bother me. I would have done some things differently, and I was well acquainted even at 10 years old, I was well acquainted with. I wasn't quite 10 when this magazine came out, but I knew who Batman. I'd seen the movie several times, watched the TV show whenever I could. It was great. Now they could have done a lot more with serials, but they didn't care. They just wanted to pump them out. I mean, it's sad that they're so cheaply made, but some of them are really good. Some serials are great. The Batman serials are a lot of fun. I mean, you have to get over the World War II racism. Look, shirts. You can buy T-shirts or iron-ons for your T-shirts. Those were ubiquitous in the 70s as well. Toy soldiers, I didn't ever have any, but they were around. Then we got a Karloff, talking about Karloff and how great he was, which, of course, um, many of the films are unavailable, they say at this time. That's just kills me. Here's one with Abbott and Costello when they meet the killer, Boris Karloff. That's not his name in the movie, so I don't know why they give it away, but it's just, your typical Boris Karloff's great. And he was. So there's no question. Look at that. Pacific Comics. Send for us. Get back issues. That was just starting up. Illustrated. Friendly service. 100,000 comics in stock. Um, Here's a build your own monster. Now I have the book somewhere in the basement of the send-ins giveaway or not, but these things you could order, mail order toys and things. We'll have to review that because it's a lot of fun. Oh, we're still going on here. Let's pause that before we run out of music. It's not that long. And then they have their Creature Realm fandoms. What does that say? Monster Fan Magazine. Famous Monsters had UX'd for it. Guess the picture. Here's a bunch of look. They had readers that send them stuff in. Outer Limits, and then quizzes. So match the actor with the role. Monsters of Rank. Two-headed horrors. So I guess you were supposed to cut this up and send it. Yeah, it does say that. Send all answers to. Now, were you supposed to cut up your magazine? News. So breaking news, I would assume, right there. And then more stuff on down there. Jeff Jones monster jigsaw puzzles. I had a monster jigsaw puzzle of the creature from the Black Lagoon. Wish I still had that. And finally, the monster mailbox, which is kind of fun. Look, it's got Gorgo, the Cyclops, and Spock. How can you go wrong here? I'm surprised at this. It probably just didn't. Seaboard just didn't have the wherewithal to keep publishing because they did everything all at once instead of kind of going out. Marvel didn't put out 17 magazines at once. And so I don't know what they were thinking. But there's a lot of, there's no hogwash. People, nobody's name I really recognize, except for one person that really hated. Where's the old Warren Spirit? Hopefully in Famous Monsters where it belongs. So they had a lot of stuff. Keep on Star Trek in, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. So when we get to the first movie, when we go back in time in the future, we'll get it. So there's some more stuff here. I'm looking forward to it. Then we get the Wolfman, just pictures of the Wolfman. I wouldn't say it was filler, but looks like it's filler. So, I don't know. I know I'd probably seen Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein by then. Once again, a movie we'll have to review, I must say. And finally, we end up with the wonderful Zachary Smith and 3 heads of Zachary Smith. And then the back cover, which of course is this bonehead who's sets his ambitions high enough to make skeptics smile. Accounting, business management, bank and finance. But he's smiling, so I guess he's happy. More power to him, right? So this is issue number 3. There's one more, and then there's 2 before it. So we'll do those in order, minus this one. And if I can find my original copy, I'll show it. It's probably been cut up. We'll be doing more monster magazines, but, Godzilla and Batman. I didn't know how much I'd love Forbidden Planet. Wolfman I love. Boris, all of them. Everything in here I really enjoy. I saw a lot of Universals growing up, and Godzilla, Forbidden Planet. It's a wonderful little magazine, a wonderful idea. I don't think it was very original. It just was more of Famous Monsters, which, isn't the worst thing. But at least it gave other artists, and I don't know that they have any other names in here who wrote these things. Let's look at the end of this article here. They're not as disjointed. Sometimes famous monsters got really disjointed. No, no authors in here at all listed. So copyright 1975, $9 for 9 issues. It cost a whopping dollar back then. Whopping, I tell you. So agents, these are probably available somewhere. I don't know. I haven't looked. But nothing in the magazine is as gruesome as the cover. And until our next adventure, this is X7 signing off to the graceful dulcet sound of Forbidden Planet. Until our next adventure.